Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be continuing with the responsive web developer path, and we are going to do the testimonial page. So you're just going to click on this card, and then I'm going to click on continue challenge because I already started it. So continue, and this is what we're going to be building. So it's a pretty minimal design, and I think we're going to have some fun building it. But what I want to do is obviously download the photos, and I think we're going to get access to this one and then the checklist and the logos as well. So let's just go ahead and say download. And so I'm going to place this in my downloads folder. That is looking okay. So the zip file is right here on my desktop because I've moved it to my desktop. So I can extract it, and we're going to extract into this folder, which has the icons that we're going to need for this project. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code into this folder so that we can just begin working right away. So I'm going to say open with Visual Studio Code. And once it opens up, you can see that this is what we have on the screen. So we want to do a bit of refactoring here. I want to create a folder that is called images, and then rename it to proper images, and then just drag and drop all of these inside here. And then inside my workspace, I'm going to create a new file called index.html, and then I'm going to create another file called index.css. And then in my HTML, I'm just going to say exclamation and enter because I'm using Emmet, and then we can begin to build out our structure. So this is one side, and then this is the other side, the right side. So what we need to do is we need to build out this part, and then we need to build out this part. Okay, that looks easy enough. So what we're going to do is this. Inside the body, we're going to return a section, which is going to be the parent. So the parent container for everything is called the section. So inside the section, we have this star on top, and that star is called, should be done ring, maybe, I think so. So inside here, we're going to return two articles. So the first article is going to be this entire side. You can use an article or a div if you want. I just want to use an article. So inside here, we first return an image that is coming from images / done ring, like so. And then below this image, we have an h1 that says reviewers or reviewers. And then below this h1, we have a paragraph that is this text. So let me just go ahead and copy the text. We're here. So copy and paste it here. And then below this paragraph, what we have our checklist. So below this paragraph, we're going to have a UL with how many list items? 3. So 3 list items. And then we want them to go to have images inside, so img. And then all these 3 images are coming from /images / star, sorry, it's not star fill. And I think it is actually this one. I think I messed up something here, but we're going to find out in a moment anyway. And then this is going to have some text. So let's just copy the text here that says checklist to review. So the one that says checklist, this one, copy and paste it. And then the next one, copy and paste it. And then the next one, copy and paste it here. And then I think that is the left article done. So now let's build up this right article. So below this article, we're going to create another article. And then this article is going to have divs. So the first div is going to be this one, and then the second div is going to be this one. So inside here, we have the Google image and then the star images. So how do we structure that? Because this is an image and then these are all images. So maybe I can just go ahead and add another div. And then this div, the first item is going to be an image that comes from images / Google testimonial. And then below this image, we're going to have a UL with 5 list items. And then these are going to have images. And for the source for these images, each of them is going to be /images / starfield svg. But the last one is grayed out, so it needs to be the other image. So images / starfield gray.svg. And then below this div, we're going to have an h2 that says Samantha Lee. And then below this h2, we're going to have a paragraph that says this. So let me just copy the content here. So this checklist, there we go. And that is our first div. So let's just copy this first div and paste it below the second. and this one is going to say Meta. So Google testimonial, this one now says Meta, and then 1 2, this is all 5 stars, so we can remove this and copy this down one more time to have 5 stars. And then Rachel Patel, so Rachel, if I can type, okay. And then the paragraph for her says that, so let's just copy it here, copy and paste it, and then let's save it, and then let's open up our project. So if you have live server installed, you can just say right click and say open with live server, and you can install live server from your VS Code extensions right here. It is called live server. Now let's see. So on the screen, this is what we have, looking ugly, but it looks okay. Now I messed up this image just as I thought. So I think that image is still the starfill SVG. Let's save that. But then it is styled to look differently. Either that or it is this one. But we don't really need to do all that. So what we're going to do is the following. What font does it require? It's called Sora. So for the body and then the list item. So the heading one is 36 pixels. And then this is 20 pixels. So this text here. And then 1 rem for this one and this one. And then this is 14 pixels for the checklist. So let's go into Google Fonts. So fonts.google.com. We are going to search for the font that is called Sora. And we're going to grab the, what font weight? We need a bold font for this one, and then we can just use the bold and the regular. So we need the regular 400. We need the bold 700. Then we can remove this font because we are not using all these. So we need the Sora. So let's copy this and paste it inside our index.css. And then let's use our universal selector to reset the margin to 0, reset the padding to 0, and reset the box sizing to border box. And then let me also set the font family here. So font family is called Sora with a fallback of sans serif. And then on the body, we're going to have, we can close this now. On the body, what do we need? The body, is it slightly grayed out or what? Let's see. So F9. So let's just add that. So background color is going to be hashtag FAF9. And then we're going to have a padding of 3 rem on the top and bottom and 1 rem on the left and right, just so that the content pushes inwards and downwards a bit. And then let's go ahead and save that. Let's see what we have. Oh, we have not linked our CSS file. So right on top here, let's link our index.css. And then let's also change the document title to say responsive testimonial page. Save that. That's looking nice. And then now we can place this to the right and then this to the left. And then we can remove these bullets. So the bullets that the list items have. So I'm going to say that for the ULs, then the list style type is going to be none. And then I'm going to select all the images and set them to have a max width over 100% so that they don't overflow outside of the container in which they are placed. And then we can begin to style this out. So first thing is inside here, I want to give this a class of reviewers. And then below this, I want to go ahead into this second article, give this a class of Google. And then inside this, wait a minute. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. I should go inside this div, give this a class of Google. And then inside this div, give this a class of Meta and save it. And we should be good to go. I don't think we're going to need any other class apart from that, but we're going to find out in a moment. So what I want to do is I want to access this first class, this first image. And actually, you know what? I need an extra class here just to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to give this a class of star. And then inside my index.css, I'm going to say that for the class of, I've already forgotten my class name, so reviewers. And so what we want is to say that for the .reviewers class, so reviewers, I want to go inside the class of star, which is the image, and then I'm going to give it a background color, and let me separate this out. So the background color for this one should be, where's the colors? Right here. So copy, and then let's go ahead and paste it inside here. And this is a different project. So we need this one. Okay, let's save that. Let's go ahead and give it an opacity here of about 99, or just that we can slightly see the star behind. Let's give it a padding of 1 rem all round. Let's give it a border radius 50% to make it rounded. And then once we have that, let's go into the .reviewers class and access the h1, give it a font size of 36 pixels, and then give it a margin on the top and bottom of 2 rem and a 0 on the left and right. Probably that is a bit too big, so let me say 1 rem. And then let's go inside the .reviewers, let's go inside the paragraph, let's give it a color of, I don't know whether this has a custom color, probably does. I think it's this one. So copy, and let's paste it inside here. Let's see what we have. Okay, that is the correct color. And then we need, let's increase the line height. So line height, make it to about 1.6, give it a margin bottom of 2 rem, separate it out from this checklist, and then let's go inside the UL. So for the .reviewers class, let's go inside the UL, which is now our checklist inside here. Let's go ahead and say display flex. Actually, not, that's not the correct thing. I should go inside the list items, because the list items have the image and then the text, so that I can say display flex on them, so that this doesn't like cause that weird overflow. And then align them center, and then give them a gap of about 0.3 rem, just to separate out just a bit. And then for the list items, we know that they have a font size of 14 pixels, so we need to reduce that, and then change the color as well. So let me just grab the correct color. I think it is probably this one. I'm not sure. It might be the same as the paragraph, but we're going to find out in a moment. Let's try that. Yeah, it's the same as the paragraph. So this one here, copy, paste. That's looking okay. And then what? Let's go inside the UL. Let's say display flex, and then flex direction column, and then give them a gap of 0.5 rem to separate them out just a bit. That is looking nice. Now what I want to do is above, I want to go inside the parent section and display it as a grid, and then add a grid gap here of about 2 rem to separate this out. I can even say maybe like 4 rem, just because it's on mobile, and then we're going to reduce it maybe on large screens. Now what we need to do is style out this other section, and for that I'm going to go inside the class is called the Google class. So right below this, we're going to say that for the .google class, we want to give it a background color of #white, so #FFF, give it a padding all round of 1 rem, give it a box shadow of 10 pixels on the horizontal, 10 pixels on the vertical, 10 pixels on the blur radius, and then RGBA value of 000 and 0.05, maybe 0.05, to give it a very slight box shadow. It's barely even visible, but it is there. And then right here, let's also give it a border radius of 10 pixels, just so that these white edges can be rounded just a bit. And then let's go ahead and deal with this image. So we're going to go inside the Google, and you know what, this style should also apply for the .meta class. So we can just add a command, add the meta class here, so that we don't go ahead and restyle this. So we need to go ahead inside this div, inside this first div. So we're going to say that for the .google class, I want to go inside the div and then say display flex, and that it pushes the images somewhere, like somewhere here, to the point where they're not even visible. So what we need to do is we're going to say for the .google class, for the div, and then I want to get the first image, the image which is the first child, meaning this big one. And then I'm going to say that the width for this is going to be maybe like 40 pixels to reduce it, so that now we can see our images here. And obviously we don't want this to happen to our image, so we're going to fix that as well. We can try to do that by adding the height to about like 20 pixels, and that almost fixes it, but now the width is too small, so we can say like 60 pixels or 80 pixels, something like that, or even 100 pixels, and then increase the height so that it doesn't look all stretched out, so about 30. We can work with that. Now when you say display flex, now the star images now come here. We don't want them to be in this form, we want them to be aligned in a raw form. So what we're going to do is for the .google class, we're going to say that for the UL, then we're going to say display flex on the UL as well, and then align item center and justify content to the center. And then let's see, this should say display flex and align item center and justify content to space between. And you know what I just realized? This is applying to the star images as well, which we don't want. And just to test it out, I can give this a background color of red, and if it's working correctly, then only the Google logo should have a background color of red, but you can see that it's not the case. So we need to fix that. So let me go ahead and add a custom class here called Google image, so google-img, and then inside here I'm going to say that for the image that has a class of google-img, so that happens. That is much better, and then we can remove this background color. That is much better. Now let's go ahead inside this h2. So for the .google class and the h2, I want to give it a, let's see actually, how does it look like? It's much smaller. What font size is it? It is I think it's 16. So I think it's 16, and the color is this one. So copy this color, and then let's go ahead and paste it here. So for the color for this is going to be hashtag this, and this should be the same color as the h1 on top. So let's find it here. Let's change the color to hashtag this, and then on the bottom let's reduce this font size to 16 pixels. Let's give it a margin top, or rather let's say margin top of 1 rem, 0 on the left and right, and 0.5 rem on the bottom. And then for the .google, I want to access the paragraph, change the color into hashtag this one, change the font size to 1 rem, and then change the line height to 1.6. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay. And now these are not displayed to the end. The stars, they're not displayed to the end. So I need this to come here. So the way we do that is by going right here and removing the justify content, and then probably add a grid gap of about 1 rem just to separate it out. So that is looking much better. And then now this second div has the same styles as this one. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're just going to go here and add a comment, say that for the meta div, and then here we're going to say comma for the .meta div, and then the image that has a class of meta-img, which we don't yet have, but we're going to add it in a moment. And then here we're going to say that comma for the .meta ul, and then here comma for the .meta h2, and then here comma for the .meta paragraph. There you go. Now all the styles have applied except for the ones for the image, because we don't have that class in our HTML. So the way we do that is we just copy this, we go inside our image here, give it a class of meta-img and save it, and there we go. So that is looking nice. Now we just need to scale this up. so that it looks better on larger screens. So let's go ahead and do that. And I just realized that there's no space here. There is no space. So let me just go inside the meta class. So inside the meta class, so inside the meta class right above this, let me say that for the dot meta class, add a margin on the top of 1 rem. Oops, 1 rem, so that we just have a bit of spacing. Now, once we have this, let's begin to limit all of it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is inside the section on top right here, I'm going to give the section a max width of 1200 pixels, which is going to limit it massively so that it doesn't push all the way to the end, as you can see by the paragraph here or by the div, and then give it a margin of auto, which is going to place it to the center. That is much better. And then inside the section on large screens, we need these two divs to come on the right. So we can go ahead and add a media query here, and I can say add media for a min width of 1024 pixels. Then I want to go inside the section, and then I want the section to have grid template columns to repeat twice and one fractional column for each of them. And you can see that now this comes here. And the reason why this works is because we already have grid displayed on this section on top right there. And then right here, I want to say place item center. So place dash items center. Can type. So center, nothing changes here yet. But when I add a height of 100 viewport heights, it always ensures that this remains to the center. Now, the reason why it is offset just a bit is, if you remember correctly, we added some padding on the body. So what we're going to do is right here, we're going to remove the padding on the body. So I'm going to say the padding here is going to be 0. Okay, so that now we don't have the scrolling animation. Now, what do we need to do? We need to displace these two just a bit. We need to displace them just a bit. So I'm going to say that for the section class, or let me say that for the dot reviewers, because that is the class that I used, I want to go inside the dot Google class, and then I want to give it a margin on the right of minus 200 pixels, which should now, it does nothing. For the dot reviewers, what did I call this? It's just called Google. Okay, that's why. So I don't need this. So that now it is margined right. Okay, so it is pushed to the right, but that is not what I wanted. So margin right 200. Okay, margin right 200. Let's see how this looks. This is 1280 pixels. I can go ahead and say this. Instead of doing this, I can say transform and translate on the x-axis by, let me say, minus 10%. Okay, so we need it to go the other way. So 10%, positive 10%, and let's say 20%. And then for the dot meta class, we are going to say transform and translate on the y-axis by 10% because we need it to move downwards a bit. Let's say 20. Is it even moving? Let's say 50. Okay, it's moving, but very small. And then we need these two to have a fixed width, so I'm going to give them a width of about 500 pixels. Maybe that's too large. Let's say 200. Okay, that's too small, so 300. Let's say 350. Yeah, we can work with 350, and there we go. So there is our design. Probably we can make the box shadow a bit more accentuated, but this is what we're going to be working with. So what we need to do now is just close this, and we need to submit solution. So let's go ahead and deploy this to GitHub and to Netlify as well. So Netlify, and then let me close all of this, close. And then let's go into our terminal using Control J. Let's shut this down. Let's log in. Let's create a new repository, and the new repository is called dev challenges. So dev challenges, and it's called responsive. What's it called? Responsive what? Responsive. What's it called? Responsive testimonial page. Responsive testimonial dash page. Create repository. Let's copy this link. Go inside here. Let's say get init. Then get add images, get commit, and I'm going to say images, get add index.css, get commit, let's say CSS styles for web app, get add index.html, get commit, let's say HTML structure, then get branch, also get remote, add origin, then paste in our link, and then get branch dash m main, then get push dash u origin main. And then as that is pushing, let's go ahead into Netlify, import an existing project from GitHub, and let's go ahead. It is called Testimonials. Let it search, and then we can reload this to make sure that everything is okay. So there we go. That is fine. So right here, so dev challenges, responsive testimonial. Let's go ahead and deploy this. So deploy. Let's change the site name here. Change site name into, let me TsbSankara, let's say responsive testimonial. Will it fit? Page, missing one letter. So let me say just responsive testimonial. Save it, and there we go. So we can visit this, and this is what we have for our application. Nice. So let's copy this link. Let's go back inside here, submit solution. Let's paste it as the demo URL. Copy this link for the GitHub repository URL. So let's say testimonial page, but in HTML and CSS. Copy this, paste it in as our description, and save and continue. Confirm, and there we go, looking nice. So this is our design, and this is the project. So almost, not so quite. So what did we get? 96%. I was not expecting that. So let's say submit, and it is now submitting. So submitting, and there we go, looking fantastic. So we can go back inside here, and in the next project we're going to begin with the contact page, because this is a premium challenge. You need the pro version to access this. So we're going to do this form, which is the contact page. So see you in the next one, and if you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. It really helps out a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.